Morning, I'm a little bit sick, please excuse me, I'm not feeling too hot. But I've been thinking about saying this for the last maybe month, and a lot of it has to do with what I've been hearing from the pulpit pastor speaking, and also in my own life. And what I'd like to share with you is just a very short word. I'd like to draw a parallel this morning between two of the wisest men that I perceive that ever lived. One in the Old Testament, one in the New Testament. The one in the Old Testament is none other but Solomon. And you understand that Solomon asked God for wisdom, and God blessed him with great wisdom. And the other one is Paul the Apostle that asked God for, well, he didn't ask God, God just gave it to him. God gave him visions of paradise. And both these men were so blessed of God. But what I want to speak about this morning is how he perceived the blessing. Solomon, God gave him so much wisdom. He was even in the temple and he saw the glory of God, and his blessings were in his flesh on earth. Solomon was at a time when Israel was in its golden era, and the nations of the earth came and gave tribute to Solomon. And Solomon was bathed in luxury. Solomon was bathed in blessing. Solomon had a lovely time on earth. But we know the end of Solomon. We know how his life ended. We know at the end God put obstacles in his path, trying to bring him back to him because of all the false gods that Solomon followed. But Paul the Apostle, also a wise man, great visions. Even today in the Bible we see the result of Paul's ministry, we see his letters. But yet Paul's path was a completely different one. Paul lost his family. Paul lost his friends. Paul was very much a lonely man. Paul was beaten. Paul was stoned so much in fact that maybe the man even went to a certain degree blind, because if you read in the scriptures, you read that Paul didn't even write his own letters. So all of this happened to Paul. Paul spoke about a thorn in the flesh. Solomon never had anything like that. Solomon was a blessed man. And today I want to speak to every single Christian here. And I want to just encourage you today, the sufferings that you're going through in your life, because all of us have to suffer in this life. Don't ever think that it's in vain. Don't ever think, don't take what the modern church, and I'm not judging the church, but don't take what people expect or what you expect to be blessing and say, I'm not being blessed.
Amen.
Don't do that. Because God's eyes, Solomon made the mistake. Solomon's blessing was in the temporal while he was on earth. Paul's blessing was in eternity. And Paul's blessing we are experiencing now. Because that man wrote his letters in prison, in the midst of cockroaches and human filth and lice. He sat there in his dungeon awaiting a beheading. But he wrote these letters that we are enjoying today. Little did Paul know, little did that man know what God had in store for him after he died. Paul never even perceived in his wildest dreams that for 2,000 years his letters would be preserved until the present day. Paul never dreamt that. And you, when you go through your sufferings like Paul, don't ever think in your life that it's all in vain. Eternity is coming, and you will know the reason why. Paul is going to have one massive, if I can say so, surprise when he gets to heaven one day, when God says to him, look at these letters. Look at the millions of Christians that have built up their faith and have been encouraged through what you've written. But we don't see that in our own lives. But why are we different to Paul? Elijah was the same, a man just like us. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody today, put not your hopes on money, sex and power, which is what the world is promoting today. And think about the two most important dates in your life. The first date is the day you were born. That's an important date. And the second date is the day you know why you were born. That's what we must think of. Why were we born? Are we just existing? Or are we doing something for eternity? Because that's all that matters. Is one day when you cross the line and you stand before God, what did you mean on this earth? What was your purpose? Did you fulfill it? That's what matters. I just want to share that with you this morning.
Thanks.